to do this video real quick about a meme that I found on my feed this morning. It was created by the Free State Project and shared by the Anti-Media, another group I really respect and appreciate a lot. Anyways, the meme went on. It said, "If you could rid the world of one thing, what would it be?" I took the time to think about an awful lot of things in this world that's pretty fucked up. A lot of things that I'd like to get rid of. But really, what would be foundational? What would have the most impact? What would have the greatest effect on how humans cooperate and coexist? What would have the greatest positive effect? And the first thing that popped in my mind once I actually thought about it, even for a minute or two, was, it's statism. It's this indoctrinated belief that we're taught from very early ages in the modern world to believe that there are certain people in society or among us that have this magical ability or capacity to rule over and dictate the lives of everyone else. I mean, in the old world, that was the religions of the old, whether it was Christianity or Islam or worshiping a wooden duck or a stone god, or there's always been some kind of a mystical belief system that was used as a pretense to force people into subjugation and sacrifice themselves for a higher power, right, or greater good, the modern world concept of it all. But basically, all you really have to do, to me, it's foundational, and I've listened to everybody on all sides of the coin. That's another thing I want people to understand too. And the people that have known me for years will know this, because my positions have changed over the years based on the amount of knowledge that I've learned, right? So I used to believe in the political process. I used to vote. I used to this, that, and this. I used to believe in certain aspects of Canadian values, which what I realize now is it's not Canadian values. It's collectivist values. It's a false pretense. It's a false premise to make people think that it's good to subject yourself for others. And even religion, like I said, I come from a religious family, and I was taught this stuff my whole life, and I really believed it. I really did. There were certain aspects of it that seemed to make sense. It seemed to, have compassion and empathy at the base core. But then I quickly realized that if you actually start to try to, find some logical consistency in it all, you quickly realize that, no, wait a minute, these people are lying. These people are completely lying. It's actually just a whole premise that they come up with to force people into believing that they're doing the right thing, when in reality what they're doing is turn themselves into slaves for the ruling classes. Anyways, like I say, so to me, the main thing, if there was one thing on this whole planet that I would wish to get rid of, would be people's belief, the belief in legitimate central authority. Not the belief in rules. We all need to live by rules, and everybody understands that. Most of us, I would say the overwhelming majority of us, were taught the proper morality and ethics from very early ages. I'd say by the time you're 7 or 8 years old, probably, every one of us have learned that don't hit, don't steal, don't kill, don't abuse other people. Don't use force against other people. That's really what it comes down to, and respect private property. I mean, people, whether it's their body, because my body is my property. That's my this is me. And anything, if I build a bench with my mind in my hands, if I cut down a tree and build a bench out of the wood of that tree, well, that's mine. I created that. Nobody gets to lay claim to that. But yet, this belief in statism, this religion of statism, tells people that you're supposed to forget about all the things you were taught as a kid, and as an adult, you're supposed to flip that completely upside down and have contradictory bases or premises. Anyways, I just wanted to real quick, after I posted this morning, I just wanted to go through a few of the comments that have come up as a result. Now, a friend of mine, Paul Braxton Hicks, his reply was, well, Zionism. I think it's one of the few roots of worldwide evil. Now, this is just another, whether you want to call it a religion or a cult, but it's still at the very core is based on forced subjugation or collectivism. So I think he's basically in line, has the same mentality, except instead of looking at the actual whole, the big picture, he's finding one aspect of it, one collectivist aspect of it, and pointing that out. Now, I will agree with him that Zionism does play a role in this collective ideology, and it is part of it, but it's the result of collectivism. It is not the idea of collectivism, it's the result of the concept of all collectivism. Forced subjugation and sacrificing yourself for the greater good. It all comes down to those base premises. Now, Bernard, a good friend of mine here in Canada, he said ignorance, which, yeah, ignorance is definitely, I would say, if you're ignorant to the facts of what all these things, these terms that we throw around are, then actually, yeah, that's very much so. I would actually have to agree that ignorance is, but it, once again, it aligns with what I said. If people believe in a certain ideology, it's an ignorance to the fact. If you believe in forced subjugation and collectivism, you are ignorant to the fact that individuals should never be sacrificed for any reason. There's no reason to sacrifice a human being unless that person chooses to make the sacrifice themselves. You can't force someone to sacrifice themselves for any reason. So I believe he's actually pretty much on line with that. Now, I have another, I believe this is a friend somewhere in Europe, if I remember correctly. Almost the same. You say statism. It's I believe it's Trigvi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, man, but I'm not Skoglin. Anyways, he says almost the same, Bennett. You say statism, I would say all politicians, which, I mean, all politicians, what are politicians? They're believers in statism, right? So I'm talking about, let's change the words up a little bit, because that's the thing with the English language, is it's been manipulated by so many people that people don't truly understand. So statism is the belief in government, right? The belief in central authority, central powers. So politicians are just people within that paradigm. So he's actually right on, and that's why I guess he says, I say statism, he says politicians. So he's right on the money in that part. Now, ladies, I see this way too often, and it really does. It kind of, well, it both infuriates me and disheartens me at the same time, because how do you cover this topic without trying to point out the obvious, without someone trying to suggest you're sexist or some form? Anyways, Sherry, which obviously is a female, a friend of Bernard's actually, so Bernard, you might want to talk to Sherry here, but her reply was money. Her reply was money. Money, okay? So this is someone that obviously has not even taken the time to understand any of the fundamentals of what anybody discusses. She's going to place the blame on money. Now, I believe actually, I don't believe she has any ill intentions. I believe she's just woefully ill-informed. I mean, what is money? I mean, if she's talking about the modern fiat currency, central bank, central government issued fiat currencies where they can manipulate and like the value of your money and inflate it, deflate it, and fractional reserve banking. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff with the money that we use today that, yes, that's, I mean, it's not a true representation of the value of the product of our minds or our labor, because there's always these central planners that change that dynamic all the time. But money, if you think about what is money, money is basically, and I mean, I think I've covered this already, but if I haven't, I'm going to cover it now. Money is basically a way to represent and place a value on your mind, like your ideas, the concepts, you know, the discoveries, the things that you can think of to create in the real world that people will like, right? Or as a storage of your labor capacity. So, you know, whether you're talking about back in the day when you had people that used tulips, or what was in England or the United Kingdom back in the day, sticks. I can't even think of the name. Some kind of a sticks, whatever the hell it was. Anyways, it was a way to measure the productive capacity of your labor. I mean, that's really what money is supposed to represent. Is back in the day, we used to trade and barter with each other, and you know, if I baked pies and you had apple orchards, well, how many of the pies that I created? You know, if I give you the pies, well, will you give me some apples, and I'll create you the pies. That way I get the apples and I get to keep some of it for myself, and I'll make a pie and give it to you. But because, you know, maybe the guy didn't want apple pie, right? He might have wanted to buy some farm implement to use, right? So, I mean, if we don't have a way to actually exchange or barter our productive labor, then how would humans even function? This has always been the fundamental fucking problem with anyone that thinks that socialism or getting rid of money will ever work. And the reason why it never has throughout all of history up until today, and never will, is because you have to place value on people's labor and their mind and the abilities that to create or innovate. If you place no value on that, then that means the person that never does anything, never lifts the hand to help another human being, never, you know, builds a house for someone to live in, never creates a computer that you can use to, you know, spread information instantaneously all over the world. If you don't chop down the trees to cut up for wood for someone to burn in their homes to keep them warm in the wintertime, I mean, you're just looking for that's a perfect way to create another system where people are slaves again. If you don't place no value on people, well, that's basically the premise for slavery, where there's no value. This is the thing that collectivists and socialists don't I don't know how they. Well, I mean, let's think about it. This goes back to the base core instincts of the male and female brain. Females were not the providers. They didn't have to care a whole lot about the value of the things. They just had to provide for their children, their immediate family, and that was it. But the person that had to go out and actually do the hunting, they placed a value on putting their lives in danger, right? So the valuation is very important if you're going to respect an individual's intellectual capacity, their innovative abilities, or their productive capacities in their labor, right? If you don't have no value on that, well, you're just looking for another excuse for subjugation is what's going to happen there. So, you know, no respect to you, Sherry, but you really need to start understanding what is it, why do you think that human beings that provide all the things that you get to enjoy, why do you think that we shouldn't be able to place any value on that? You know, what, do you think you should have it for free or something? Do you think I should have to work as a slave for you to provide it for you? Or that you get to decide what I'm worth? You get to decide what I'm worth? No, I get to decide what I'm worth, right? That's how it works. Now, governments want to deny that right. They want to be able to dictate what my worth is. This is what central planning is all about. Central planners, collectivists, want to completely ignore the free market capitalist ability to say, listen, I can do this. 1 in 1,000 people can do this. Therefore, the 1 in 1,000, I have more value than the 999, right? Sherry wishes, I guess, that the 999 should have the same value as the 1, right? She's doing this on the internet, on a computer. I mean, whether it's her smartphone, her laptop, a tablet, desktop, she's posting this on a Facebook page. What, do you think these people, whether it's Zuckerberg that did all the, so a lot of work goes into creating the software for a program like this, or, or the internet companies, or there's so many different aspects of what it takes just to even get to the point where you can do what we do in the modern world. And you don't think that any of these people should have any valuation placed on their ability to do this stuff? Because what you're really asking, if that's what you're saying, what you're really asking is to relegate the people that create all the things that you get to enjoy, and relegate them to the same level of the person that wants to sit on their couch and do a fucking nothing all day. Really? That means they have the same value. In your world, money means they have the same value. Well, without money, then everybody's of the same value, right? Then, if you have no worth, who cares how smart you are, or how many things that you've introduced that have made my life 1,000 times easier? I'm not going to pay you for it. You should just do that for me just because out of the goodness of your heart, right? Yeah. Think about how much we get taken advantage of the fact that we actually have, for the people that even have self-esteem, self-respect, and self-reliance, and innovation, and the minds to do all the things that most people can't. Well, what happens when you want to force the people that do that? Now you want to tell them, say, I don't care what you've done, you're not really worth anything, to be honest with you. Well, guess what kind of world you want to live in under that kind of scenario? Because I'll tell you about I've said this before. If we get to the point where the socialists went out and I don't get to be competitive, and my abilities and skills don't mean nothing, and I have to be relegated to the lowest common denominator, don't fucking expect me to put my innovation, use my mind, use my strength, use anything that I have in my capacity. If you want to compare me to this low-life piece of shit that don't ever want to do anything, if this is what you want, I won't do it. Simple as that. But see, because I do retain the skills necessary to provide for myself, I'll do it for myself, and I'll do it for the people I care about. See, this is the thing that the parasites and the collectivists, or girls like Sherry, don't understand. I mean, the more you want to try to devalue or debase what my capacity, what my productive capacity is worth, all you're doing is saying that you don't respect me. And if you don't respect what I can do and what I can provide, and place some kind of value on that, don't fucking think I'm ever going to do it for you then. You know what I mean? Whether it was driving truck for, years and years and years, delivering things all over the Canada, the U.S., spending 8.5 years of my life being gone away from my home, being home only maybe every 2 or 3 weekends for a day or two. You think I did all that shit just so that you could feel good? No, I did that so I could make a living to provide for my family, which means I place value on what I do. All right? And I'm never going to change. And people like myself, the producers, the people that do the work, are never going to want to subjugate themselves and devalue their innovation or the productive capacity for the greater good. It's a battle you'll never win. And even if you win, look at the countries where the collectivists have won, where they've been able to force the producers to yield to their whims and wishes. Look around. They've all collapsed. They've all sunken into the point where, trust me, no female, I don't care what you think about money, let society break down. Let the evil, let the parasites, let the collectivists that you think you enjoy, that you associate with, let them be the ones that take over things. If that's what you want, and you end up getting what you want, you'll find in a real short time frame that maybe you didn't want that after all. Because then you've placed yourself in a much, much more perilous position than having to go and spend $1 or $2 on things that somebody has provided for you. Then you've placed not just others, but yourself in a position where they will force you into pure on slavery, servitude, where you will work and toil and do whatever the fuck they tell you they want you to do at what they base the value that they place on you. Not what you place on yourself, what they place on you, which in most collectivist, socialist, communists is like nothing, okay? Now, they try to place a doctor in the same level as someone that pick up garbage in a ditch or something, right? If you think that that's fair, you wait till you find out what kind of procedure you're going to get from a doctor that gets paid the same as a guy that picks up garbage in the ditch. I wouldn't want to be operated on someone that's been treated like that. So you really need to start thinking a little bit, Sherry, before you post foolish comments such as this.